Welcome to California in Focus. I'm Johnny Edwards, Southeast investigative reporter for the Center Square, and I'm here with Madeline Shannon, California reporter for the Center Square. Madeline has an incredible story about a ubiquitous neighborhood store, CVS Pharmacy, settling a false claims lawsuit for millions of dollars. Maddie, tell us who sued CVS and why.
Well, Johnny, the U.S. Department of Justice paired with the California Department of Justice on this lawsuit. And in California, our state attorney general, Rob Bonta, he was one of the people who really spearheaded this lawsuit and really was one of the key players. But they filed the lawsuit because of a whistleblower complaint that basically claimed that CVS was fraudulently submitting claims to Medicaid for reimbursement for prescription medication that CVS was dispensing to patients. And whether or not CVS knowingly submitted fraudulent claims is debatable. There are claims from CVS that procedures and rules about submitting Medicaid claims changed recently. So they were a little confused, apparently, about what the right procedures were to follow, what the right pharmacy claim codes were in submitting claims to Medicaid to get reimbursed for medication that they were dispensing to patients. But that's ultimately the main crux of the lawsuit that was just recently settled.
Is this what we would think of as Medicaid fraud?
Yes, that is what the lawsuit spearheaded by the California Department of Justice was claiming.
So kind of walk us through, how would this alleged Medicaid fraud have worked? Like, what were the mechanics of it?
Well, it really involved someone who worked for one particular CVS pharmacy in California submitting codes the wrong way to Medicaid to get reimbursed for medication that this one pharmacy was dispensing. The claims that CVS knowingly committed fraud in submitting fraudulent claims to Medicaid, it does get tricky, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds because it gets pretty technical and pretty procedural. But ultimately, it comes down to submitting claims the wrong way. And someone who was responsible for submitting claims to Medicaid, which is known as Medi-Cal in California, that person or the team of people who worked at this one pharmacy not submitting claims the right way resulted in these fraudulent Medicaid claim charges.
So how did CVS respond to these allegations?
Well, they said that they did their best to follow state and federal law in submitting claims to Medicaid and Medi-Cal for reimbursement. And ultimately, they really only agreed to settle because they didn't want to go to court. They wanted to avoid timely and costly litigation, which is the route that most corporations take in suits like this, of course.
And so they decided to settle. What were the terms of the settlement? What can you tell us about that?
Well, CVS agreed to pay $18.2 million to the United States, and California itself is going to get more than $10 million of that total money. $8.1 million, I believe, is going to the United States itself, and then California will get $10 million.
Is there any indication that this will in any way affect CVS customers?
It doesn't seem so. I think for those of us who go to CVS to pick up things, or for patients who get prescription medication from CVS pharmacies or who get their flu shots, this isn't really going to change anything for any of them. I don't think that this is going to result in interruptions to service. This isn't going to affect the medications that people are able to get at CVS. It doesn't seem like this is going to really have much of an effect for most CVS patients and customers.
I see. Well, as you reported the story, was there anything about this that surprised you or that stood out to you as particularly eye-opening?
Not really. I've reported on lawsuits like this before involving companies or corporations in state or federal agencies, including the Department of Justice. And this is the kind of route that many corporations choose to take when faced with a lawsuit levied by a state Department of Justice or the U.S. Department of Justice. So I can't say I was all that surprised that the company decided that they would like to settle. And it seemed like this is, in terms of the money, the amount of money that is often paid out by companies who would like to settle instead of going to court over charges and allegations like this.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head, and that's a great thing to be able to do when you have the money to be able to afford that type of solution. But well, thanks a lot, Maddie. And folks, her story is posted now on thecentersquare.com. This has been California in Focus. I'm Johnny Edwards. Thanks for joining us.